trigonometry of right triangles. This is part 2, and we have 2 examples where we're given one trig ratio and you want to find the other 5 ratios. Okay, so the first example is given the cosine of alpha equals 3/4. We want to sketch a right triangle with acute angle alpha and find the other 5 trigonometric ratios of alpha. Okay, so I sketched a triangle here. I'm going to label one of my angles alpha. Here's the right angle. Okay, here's the hypotenuse. This is going to be the opposite side, and this is the adjacent side. We're given the cosine of alpha equals 3/4. That's the ratio. Okay, so we know from SOHCAHTOA that cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, so that means the ratio of adjacent to hypotenuse is 3/4. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is find the third side here. So the missing side plus 3 squared equals 4 squared. So a squared equals, a squared plus 9 equals 16. So subtract 9 from both sides, so a squared equals 7. So that means that the other side is the square root of 7. All right, and then we can find the other ratios. So sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. So root 7/4. The tangent of alpha is, tangent is opposite over adjacent. Opposite over adjacent. And then we have our 3 reciprocal functions, cosecant, secant, and cotangent. Okay, secant's the reciprocal of cosine, so that's going to be 4/3. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, so that's going to be 4/7. Rationalize the denominator, and we get 4/7 over 7. And then the cotangent is going to be 3/7, which is 3/7/7. Okay, so there's all 6 trig functions of alpha. Sometimes we're given a trig function that's one of the reciprocal functions. So the first thing you want to do is remember that cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, right? The sine of theta would be opposite over adjacent. Opposite over hypotenuse. So therefore cosecant is going to be hypotenuse over the opposite. Okay, so we're going to draw a triangle. And my right angle will be here. And I'm going to label this angle theta. Okay, and the ratio of the hypotenuse over the opposite is 4, or 4/1, making this side 4 and this side 1. Use the Pythagorean theorem to find our missing side. So a squared plus 1 squared equals 4 squared. Subtract 1 from both sides, and a squared equals 15. So a is the square root of 15. So I can label the adjacent side. Okay, we know cosecant of theta is 4/1. Therefore, right away we know that the sine has to be 1/4. Okay, and then cosine of theta Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent over hypotenuse. And then the tangent. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So 1 over the square root of 15, which is the same as the square root of 15 over 15. Oops. Okay, so I've got cosecant, sine, cosine, tangent. I need secant, which is the inverse of the reciprocal of cosine. And then cotangent. Okay, and there's all 6 trig functions given one trig ratio.